Welcome everyone, Michael and Joey here with the PC version of Lawbreakers. And we're going to give you a few general tips on how well it can run on a modest system. And we're going to kind of tinker with the quality settings and run 1080p and 4K to see what kind of frame rates we can get. So, Joey, how you feeling today?
Feeling good.
All right, well, I am too. So
ready to break some laws here.
Yeah, we're gonna break the law, man. First, we're gonna hop into the options menu and see what kind of video settings we can actually tinker with. So, yeah, we got resolution. We can run in we're gonna run in full screen here. You can do windowed or bordered windowed, of course. You can also scale the screen if you wanted to run it, render it at half resolution. But for now, we're just gonna do. Obviously, we're gonna do full scale, and so global quality settings is it's gonna change everything. So you can have it's basically a preset, and you got view distance, how far you can see, anti-aliasing, quality. We're gonna leave that at high, shadow quality, post processing, texture quality, effects quality, all the basic stuff you would see in a PC game. Now here is a little different. We can cap the frame rate. We're not gonna cap the frame rate here. There's no need to, but if you didn't want it to go above 60 frames per second on your particular monitor, you could. You also set it with the slider there. VSync, leave that off. Always force it off in my control panel settings. So here we can choose the anti-aliasing mode. So they only give us two options. We get, we got FXAA, we get temporal TXAA or TAA. Fast approximate anti-aliasing. If you watched our video on the different types of anti-aliasing, you'll know what that is. It's more of it's an easier way to get anti-aliasing for your hardware. We're working with a very modest system that's a little bit dated, I would say, but it's still pretty powerful. We're running an i5 3570K, and we're also running a GTX 970, 8 gigs of RAM on we're using an SSD. Working with a mid-range build is kind of the fun part. Would you say, Joey?
Yeah.
All right. So, do you want to jump into a real match here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's try.
And my boy, Joey, tell us how good you are at this game too.
I have never played it.
All right. Yeah, you have.
I've played a little bit. Played a lot more Overwatch. So this is kind of a new thing for me.
Well, I picked Joey out of the office too because one, he's my boy, and two, he's probably one of the better guys on keyboard and mouse in a shooter.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah. So I would trust myself, but I gotta lay down the knowledge for you guys, or at least try. So, yeah. So right now we're trying to jump into a match. We're running 4K, the high preset with no anti-aliasing. So yeah, here we go. We're in an actual game. We're waiting. Well, obviously we're waiting for players, but this is sort of a real world situation where we have two full teams shooting at each other, flying across the map, and things are blowing up. People are shooting at. There's a lot of effects qualities going on. You can see how far the draw distance is in this map when we go outside. So right now we're getting about high 40s to we're getting it like mid 30s to about to the 50s with 4K high here with a GTX 970. So these frame rates I would say are actually like fairly decent considering.
Yeah, it's getting a little shaky here.
It's getting a little but it's all good. So yeah, we're actually in the match. Yeah, we're getting about I would say an average of 40, dipping down to a mid 30s a little bit. And which is, I would say it's a little surprising considering how old our PC is, even though it's fairly decent.
Ooh.
Joey, on the other hand, is not decent at this game. So this is a good idea of how well it's going to run on a modest system. Do you want to go into the settings menu and crank this up to...
yeah, let's take a look.
Let's see how much, if we crank the preset to Ultra. Yeah, go to Ultra and check, make sure that for anti-aliasing. Yeah, okay, we're good.
Good?
So jump back in. Okay, so when we jump to Ultra,
boy.
there's a big drop off in frame rates. We're getting mid to low 20s. So I would not recommend running this game in Ultra 4K with the mid-range video card. I imagine that a 1070 would fare a lot better. A GTX 1070 would. GTX 1070 would fare a lot better, but I don't think you would be hitting the desired 60 frames per second. for a competitive shooter. So leave that to the 1080 Ti's, maybe the RX Vegas when you're able to get your hands on that to run this game 4K Ultra. So we're not going to be very competitive here if we half the frame rate that we really, or less than half the frame rate that we really want. So yeah, get good, man.
Trying.
Okay, so that's kind of a general idea of how well 4K is going to run. You're going to have to ditch your teammates, man, because we're going to switch it over to 1080p.
All right, sorry guys.
Man,
Just when they get the rockets.
Intermission, right. Great. Now they can find a new teammate as you fall to your death. So we're going to have to exit out of the game and literally change our desktop resolution to 1080p in order to get the game to run in 1080p.
Yeah, we had a lot of purple and greens earlier during testing.
Yeah, we were switching resolutions and then my desktop was flipping out.
So for Fraps, it says it's currently at 60 frames per second, right?
Yeah.
But I know earlier, like when we were testing it, it bumped it all the way up to like 150 at some points.
Yeah.
Would it do that now since we're only in a menu?
Oh yeah. So for Lawbreakers, when you're in the menu, for some reason it caps out at 60 frames per second.
Okay.
So yeah, if you go into the menu in game and then you're messing around with the settings, it's gonna read 60. As soon as you get out of the menus, then the frame rate's gonna jump back to whatever it's supposed to be. And I'd say for 1080p Ultra anti-aliasing on, this is actually really good. So I mean, Lawbreakers is a competitive shooter, so they're not going to try and push their graphical engine to its absolute limits because they want this game to be more accessible for PC users. But to know that this game can run fairly well, 1080p maxed out with an older mid-range build is pretty neat. Oh, get him, man. Get him. Oh, snap.
Oh, there's a guy right there.
They got you. Yeah, so we're getting pretty good performance, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're getting about 120 when we get to smaller areas, but let's see if we can get up to 144 frames per second, and the reason why we want to do that is because there's a lot of 144 hertz monitors out there, so you can actually get the maximum potential out of your monitor if you have one of those. So if you want to hop into the graphics menus and leave your teammates be for a second.
It'll be okay.
So, yeah. So if you're going to go to the preset and just put it down to high, we can keep anti-aliasing on, I think.
Okay.
We could have temporal anti-aliasing on. Yeah, we're hitting up to 140. Let's see what it's like with a firefight. We haven't dipped below 100.
If I can find anyone here.
We haven't dipped below 100 quite yet. Oh, we hit the mid-90s.
Woo!
Other than the kind of technical difficulties we had with changing the resolution and having to run it, well, just to let you know also, we're running this in a borderless window because we had a little trouble trying to get this in like real full screen. As far as how much that affects performance, I can't really say. But to know that you'll get really good frame rates out of a fairly decent computer is it's one less thing you have to hurdle over to if you want to play Lawbreakers, you won't necessarily have to worry about that even if you don't have the best hardware. Obviously we didn't run any benchmarks, we didn't get any graphs or very specific numbers for you, but we did kind of play around with some different settings and put the game in a real match situation so we can get some general ideas of what kind of frame rates we can get with Lawbreakers on PC. And I would say it runs pretty well.
I like it, yeah. Looks pretty good. And then once we turn like the graphical settings up and did drop to maybe around 30, but it was pretty good. But I would say for me personally, since I like competitive shooters a lot, like having the frame rates be around like 140 or like just anywhere above that 60 level is really satisfying.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, there you have it. I hope you found this video helpful. So if you did, give it a thumbs up and keep your eye out for our review on Lawbreakers. Don't forget to subscribe to GameSpot for more game tech, more tips, more guides, and all that good stuff. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching.